Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Mr. Stevie J893 and I'm back with another video. And in today's video I'm going to be doing a comparison between the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3. So let's get started. So one of the first things that I wanted to do a comparison on between these two systems is the startup. With the PlayStation 3 I'm using the PlayStation remote to fire it up. And you see the green light just cut on. And you heard the beep. And with the PlayStation 3, that's really about it. That's all you hear as far as startup. When firing up the Xbox 360, and keep in mind this is the Xbox 360 version minus Wi-Fi, so it's like the first generation model, versus the PlayStation 3 that I have. It's a 500 gig slim model. So there are huge differences between the two. But when starting up the Xbox 360, you hear what sounds like a jet engine firing up. You can see on the back of it, there's an aftermarket cooler right there. And that's supposed to be designed to help keep it cooler and keep down some of the fan noise, but in actuality it really doesn't do much. When you're trying to watch a movie, you want to hear the movie, you want to hear the sound effects in the movie, you want to hear dialogue in the movie, you don't want to hear the fan powering up and running. And a lot of times that happens with the Xbox 3. Well, all the time it happens, to such extent to where I really don't watch movies on there. The next area that I want to compare these two systems on was game disc access. And what I mean by that is how you go about accessing your game, the system tray to get your games. Now this is an area that I really do like on the Xbox 360. Because if you notice, when I first turned the Xbox 360 on, I used a joystick. Right here, I just used the joystick. Alright, so you see right now there's already a game in there. Now, if I wanted to eject that with the Xbox 360, it's really simple to eject a game. All you do is you press the Y button. Just like that, the eject tray comes out. Now I like that from a comfort standpoint. You don't have to get up out of your chair really to open up the game tray. Now if you want to switch games, that's a different story. But as far as just opening and closing your game tray, you can't beat that with the Xbox 360. The only downside that I see to this is if something happens to where your game system, say for instance your 360 happens to suffer the red ring of death. If you've got a game in there, you've pretty much lost that game. So there's pluses and minuses, more so pluses for the 360, and we can close that up by just simply pressing, let's see here, press the A button, and there you go, it's closed. With the PlayStation 3 Super Slim model, it's a little different. There is no tray that you use. Now on the original, the first generation model of the PlayStation 3, there was an eject button that allows the disc to slide out. So it was a slot loading disc, sort of like what you find on your computers. But with this new slim model, there's no slot loading disc. Basically what you have is you've got a button right here that you press and you see the top slides back. Now with this top loading tray, all you do is you take your disc, push it down, and close it. You don't have to worry if something happens to your system. You can just take your disc out. So there's pluses and minuses on both systems with that regard. So the next thing that I want to talk about with regard to these systems was the joystick. So as I was saying before, these are the two joysticks. I've got the camouflage version for the Xbox 360 and I've got a red version here for the PlayStation 3. Both of these are really good controllers. Both have their pluses and minuses, and that's what we're going to get into here. So one of the first things to discuss here is this, your charging cord. Now this is the charging cord for the PlayStation 3 controller, and this is what actually came with the system. This is a couple feet long. It's real simple to use. You just plug it right into the top of the controller. Now, the good thing is it's plug and play. You can charge it while you're playing. The bad thing is, if you see how long this cord is, it's only a few feet. So if your joystick happens to die while you're in the middle of gaming, you're basically going to be sitting right up on your system. You're not going to be sitting much further than a couple feet away. So you can see that right here. With the Xbox 360, this is the controller that actually came with it. And I am unwinding the cord that comes with it. Now this is several feet long, and one, not only is this a wireless controller, but if you happen to have to charge up while you're playing, all you do is plug it in here, and you've got a cord that'll really stretch across the room. So here's your controller here, and here's you can see the length right here. I mean, it's more than double that of the PlayStation 3. More than double. So as it relates to comfort between the two, I'll definitely give the nod to the Xbox 360 because you can play literally from halfway across the room, in addition to it being wireless, where you can really play even further. The next area that I want to look at, and I know I want to mention battery length, but I'm going to get to that in just a second. But going back to what I just mentioned, another word, comfort. Between these two, I never thought I'd actually say it, but I prefer the Xbox 360's controller. Simply put, it's bigger, it's beefier, it feels more sturdy in hand. The triggers are a little bit more natural. They feel more like trigger buttons. And this just feels better overall in your hand. PlayStation 3, of course, has this little slim design. With the PlayStation 3 controller, it's rather glossy. So if you're playing and you happen to go to press a directional pad or press a button, your fingers could slip, especially when they're sweating. So with that, plus the fact that it's pretty small, the trigger buttons aren't too bad and the shoulder buttons aren't too bad, but they just don't feel as comfortable as the Xbox 360's. So for that, I'll definitely give the nod to the Xbox 360 controller. The next area that I want to cover is batteries inside the controllers. As you already know, the Xbox 360 has a battery pack that you can take off, and on this one it has a wireless battery pack. Also on the white one that came with the system, there's a wireless battery pack. PlayStation 3 doesn't have any such feature. The battery is sealed inside, similar to an iPhone. So with the two, having used both of them extensively, I feel like the PlayStation 3's controller definitely lasts longer. I can charge this up, say for instance on a Sunday, and it'll get me through an entire week of gaming. Now, by an entire week, let me just give you an idea. I'm not on my game system for hours and hours a day. At most, I may be on there maybe 2 hours on either system in a given day, maybe. And even out of that, especially with regards to the PlayStation 3, I'm not playing the entire time. I'll play a little while. I may actually play 45 minutes to an hour, but then after that, I'm really using this because I'm surfing the web or whatever. So this here lasts pretty much all week. I can charge this up on a Sunday and it'll get me all the way through the following weekend. And now with that in mind, generally the Xbox 360 controller could do the same thing. However, when I first got this system, I played it quite a bit because, like I said, I hadn't had a PlayStation 3. I played it quite a bit, and then I kind of went back to playing this a little bit. And I noticed that the battery on the PlayStation 3 controller lasts considerably longer. The next area that I wanted to look at was internet accessibility between these two systems. Now, as you can see, the Xbox 360 is still running. However, this is the first generation model of the Xbox 360 that does not have Wi-Fi built in. So as such, it requires an Ethernet connection. Now, since I've had the PlayStation 3, I kind of had renewed interest in trying to get this thing connected to the internet because I've never, in the years that I've had it, it's never been connected to the internet. So what I did is I used the Ethernet cord that came with the Xbox 360. I plugged it up to my MacBook Pro and tried to set it up online. That way it wouldn't even register or find my router. And my router, even though it's a couple rooms away, it has a very strong signal. And I know it's nothing wrong with the router because anything else that I have from my PlayStation 3, my iPad, my MacBook Pro, my phone, any of them can pick the router up just like that. So I'm not sure if it's something with this particular system. And then again, this is not my first Xbox 360. My first one suffered the red ring of death, and I had to send it in and get a replacement model or a refurbished one, and that's what this is. So I've read online somewhere that an internal component that the Xbox 360 needs in order to connect to the internet could be fried, and that could be the case. If that is the case, that's not a big deal, because I do have one game system that I can use to connect to the internet. This just happens to not be one. So as a result, I'm not able to use Xbox Live. I'm not able to download any for the game that's in here, WWE 2K14. I'm not able to download any of the content online, so that's fine and good. But for the PlayStation 3, I have absolutely no problems with it accessing the internet, and I found this to be the case from the night that I bought it. All I did was I brought it home, I hooked it up, I entered my router information, the Wi-Fi password, and it found the router connected to the internet, no problems. So with that, I definitely give the ease of being able to do internet activities, anything on the internet, definitely give that to the PlayStation 3. All you do is click internet browser and there you are. Just like that, you connect to the internet. So in that regard, I definitely give the nod to the PlayStation 3. Next, I'm going to talk a little bit about the menus. So the menus on both systems are pretty straightforward, starting with the PlayStation 3, and I'm just kind of going from left to right. You have your users where you can set up that first screen there. You set up whatever different users, and I like that each user you can set up their own internet information, so both users can have, or however many users you have that access your system, each one can have access to the internet. Right here you've got your settings, and this covers pretty much every setting on the system. System updates, game settings, video settings, music and chat settings, theme settings. I mean, you can go through here and there's pretty much every type of setting that you can think of. Security settings, sound settings. Next you've got photos. Of course, with the PlayStation 3 you can actually download photos of yourself to the PlayStation 3 and use those as your avatars. And I think that that's pretty cool. Here you've got media servers for music. You've got music playlists. Going back to photos, you can add photos and have photo playlists. You can have music playlists. Coming to video, you've got pretty much everything. You can search for media servers. You can edit video and upload it. You can access the PlayStation Store. And then you can also, one of the things that I like to do, if I find a game that I'm really considering using or buying, then what I do is I find that game in the PlayStation Store, and if it has a trailer, then I'll download it and watch it. So these are some of the games that I've either bought or considering to buy. Alright, the next menu that you have here is just your different channels and TV video services. It's my channels, there it is. And it shows you different channels on here that you can subscribe to. Of course, you've got Netflix, you've got Amazon Instant Video, you've got Redbox, and of course you've got YouTube. Now, I'm sure that there's more. If anybody happens to know of any more, please leave them down in the comment section below. But right now, that's all I've found or downloaded. Next, you've got your game info. And of course, this also you can store game info for the PlayStation Vita. You've got your game data utility. You can create an internal memory card on the system. You can also access your saved data on your PlayStation Portable, as well as your PlayStation 3. And then of course, once again, you've got access to the PlayStation Store. And you notice throughout this entire menu, the PlayStation Store plays a prominent role. And last, you've got the actual game, if you've got one in there. Right now I've got Gran Turismo 5. And what I like about this is that it actually shows, for some games, for whatever reason, I've only been able to see a disc in the game name. But like for this, you actually see the Gran Turismo 5 icon and the name of the game. Next, you've got your network information. You can go in there, fiddle around. Here you've got your PlayStation Network info, your account management. This is where you actually go to set up PlayStation Network on your PlayStation 3. Next, you've got what's new, and that's generally something that pops up as soon as you turn your PlayStation 3 on. What's now is a place that you can also go if you're a member of PlayStation Plus, which we'll be talking about here in a couple seconds. But PlayStation Plus, you can go here to see what new games are going to be available for download, as well as what free games PlayStation is going to make available for download the following month. Next, you've got your trophy collection. Trophy collection, any games that you play on the PlayStation 3, you can collect trophies for accomplishing certain things, and this is where you can go to view those trophies. Next, you've got PlayStation Plus. This is sort of like Sony PlayStation's version of Xbox Live, and from what I hear, it seems the PlayStation Plus happens to be a little better value. One, it's cheaper. The price to join is cheaper per year than it is for Xbox 360. Plus, with the PlayStation Plus, every month they give you up to 8 full games free. So you're not going to find that on Microsoft. Everything that you do with Microsoft, you're going to pay. I think that this is a really interesting option. It's something that I've really been considering. I've talked to a couple people, read a couple of reviews, so I'm really thinking about leaning towards getting the PlayStation Plus membership. Next, you've got PlayStation Home, and then once again, you've got the PlayStation Store. And here, you can just go ahead and say, as long as you've got a broadband internet connection, which states at the bottom, you can go to the PlayStation Store and you can purchase and download any game. Now, the good thing about that is you download the game and it's stored to your hard drive. Bad thing is you can burn up a lot of storage space really quick, and you also don't have a game disc. Now that for some people can be good or bad. If you're not concerned about it and you don't really want game discs and manuals and stuff stored around your house, then that's a good thing. But if you happen to still trade games in, then not having a disc and the box and the manual could be a problem. Alright, so here we've got the Xbox 360 menu. And the first thing you notice is that it's kind of similar to the Xbox One. You see up top you've got a home button, which shows you everything on your home screen. It shows you the game that you're playing, similar to what we just looked at on the PlayStation 3 with Gran Turismo. Here you see Forza Motorsport, and it's an old one, Motorsport 2. It still looks pretty good and plays pretty good. Next you've got My Pins, and then below that you've got Recent. Now this is Recent is something that I just discovered, and I don't know if this got added on with the update. Up until WWE 2K14 came out, my Xbox 360 had the old home screen, and with the purchase of that game, as soon as I put it in, it said the system needed to update, and this came out. And the reason I bring all of this up is because my screen changed to this, and then I just noticed this stuff under Recent. Now I don't know if that all came as a part of that update, but it was something pretty interesting. When you click it, you can go into each one of these tabs. The first one here is Wireless Accessories, and it shows you a lot of wireless accessories. Now I hadn't seen this before. It could be old and I hadn't seen it, or it could be something new. I don't know. Next, across the top, you've got a social feature. Now here, if you've got friends on Xbox Live, you'll see them here. You can see the avatar store, and this is also where you can sign in and out of your game profile. Next, you've got games, and it shows you just that. Right now, got Forza Motorsport 2 in, and then Pac-Man is actually on the stored on the hard drive. Next, you've got TV and movie if you've got video apps. You've got Windows Media Center, you've got Xbox Video, and you've got System Video Player. Next, you've got music. If you've got music apps, Xbox Music and System Music Player, that's what you use to play music through. Next, you've got apps if you've got any apps downloaded. And then last, you've got your settings. Now here you've got system settings. This is where you can go to change the clock. You can set up your network settings, your connect settings. You can adjust your storage. Next is games. And by games, I'm actually going to, I guess I'll just go ahead and say gameplay. Like I said, I've got two similar games loaded, and I'm just going to kind of go into both of them really quick. But what I've got here in the Xbox 360 is Forza Motorsports 2. This is a really old title. It's at 2007. So as you can see, the video, even on this older game, looks really good. I just want to show you a quick feel of what the graphics actually look like on the 360. And even though this is a 6, almost 7-year-old game, it still looks pretty good. You can change your view. Alright, so that's gameplay there. Now let's switch over to the PlayStation 3. Alright, so with Gran Turismo 5, it takes you to this menu screen. We're just going to go ahead and try and jump into a race real quick. Now while this is loading and playing, one of the other things that I wanted to mention, the fact that the Xbox 360, when it shipped and when you bought it, it comes with an HDMI cable, or at least it comes with the higher definition video cables. You know, the red, the blue, and the green one, as well as your composite audio. And it did ship with an HDMI cable, so that gave you superior picture quality right off the bat. With the PlayStation 3, for whatever reason, they did not ship it with an HDMI cord. And it came with the composite RCA cables. And I gotta tell you, when I first hooked up my PlayStation 3 and I was looking at the graphics, I was kind of like, is this what everybody has been all excited about? And I was really kind of disappointed until I took a set of HDMI cables that I had around the house, and I hooked those up. And as soon as I did, well, what I see right now is what I see, and I'm not doing too good on this cart. So I applaud Microsoft for shipping the Xbox 360 with an HDMI cable. I still can't believe this late in the game that with PlayStation 3s, they're still being sold, but they're still being sold without HDMI cables. With the PlayStation 3, I had to go and purchase an optical audio cable. And you just think, I mean, even though PlayStation 3s are not that expensive now, still the fact that you're having to pay several $100s and still have to go and purchase an HDMI cable as well as an audio cable, it's kind of ridiculous. The second to the last thing is the power brick. We already know that Microsoft seems to have a thing for power bricks. They shipped one with the Xbox 360, and they also shipped one with the Xbox One. I like what Sony has done with the PlayStation. With the PlayStation 3, there is no power brick. It's internal, as well as with the new PlayStation 4. So we don't have to even worry about seeing that. It just adds a bunch of extra weight, and it's more junk. If you have to move the system around, it's just more junk you have to worry about lugging here and there. And the last thing I wanted to discuss with this review was the ability to play external media. Now, as I stated before, both systems are able to play external media such as hard drives, and what I've got is one right here. So what I'm going to do is just unplug the second controller and take my external hard drive here and plug it right in. So what we have to do is we have to go all the way across here to apps. Go into my apps. Go into system video player. And then right here you're going to see portable device. And now it shows you all of the folders that you happen to have on there. Now the only thing is, I can access them and it shows there's videos in there, but I can't play a single one of these videos. But I can't play a single one of these videos because I get this message here: a media update is required to play this content. Alright, so now that both systems are off, I'm going to unplug the hard drive here. I'm going to plug it into the second controller port on the PlayStation 3. Okay, so now that we've got it turned on, what we want to do is we want to come all the way back here to the video menu. And what you're going to do is you're going to find your device. So here we see USB device, my passport. Hit the triangle, and then what you want to do is you want to display all. And now once again it shows you all of the folders. So if we want to find a video that I've already shot, this right here is Zad Key's portfolio case for the iPad. Just click it.
Hey, what's up YouTube? It's Mr. Stevie J893 and I'm back again with another video. And in this video I'm going to be...
and with that, I really like the PlayStation 3. I really like the media features that it brings to the table. Not saying that the Xbox 360 can't, but because it can't register my internet, there's not much media-wise I can do with it. So there you have it, my review of both the PlayStation 3 and the Xbox. Notice I did not pick a winner because the winner is us, the consumers. So there's really no need for this system is better than that system. Sure, I find certain things that I prefer on one system over the other. But as far as picking one over the other, both of them have great games. And we, the consumer, are the ones who win because we get to experience all of this. So if you guys have a PlayStation 3 or an Xbox 360 or even in PlayStation 4 or an Xbox One, you have it. Let me know what systems you have, what games you're playing, and what you like the most about your particular system. Alright, so I'm looking forward to hearing from you, and if you like this video, please do hit that like button. And please do subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.